Welcome to the world beyond imagination. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And enjoy the journey. The order came down the palace hallway like a blade sliding from its sheath. Escort the alien girl to the Hall of Oaths. Do not speak to her. Do not look into her eyes for long. Do not let her speak. Yalan kept his helmet on, even though the corridor was warm with sunlight. Tall windows poured bright daylight across white marble floors, golden banners hung motionless. Every sound felt too loud. Boots, armor joints, breathing through filters. In the middle of the formation, she walked without chains, and that was the first wrong thing. Prisoners wore collars, prisoners wore cuffs, prisoners were dragged. But this girl moved like the hallway belonged to her, like she had simply stepped out of a painting and forgot to stop. Her skin was soft blue lavender, not the harsh blue of battlefield aliens, but the color of evening clouds. Faint freckles glowed across her cheeks, as if starlight had decided to rest there. Her ears were small and pointed, delicate, almost fragile. A simple cloak covered her shoulders, plain fabric, no insignia, no rank. Yet the guards around her were the Empire's best, and they held their rifles as if they were holding back a storm. Yalan had escorted warlords, smugglers, traitors, even a captured prince once. None of them made trained soldiers swallow like frightened recruits. None of them made a palace hallway feel like a tomb. Captain Voss marched at the front, visor down, voice cold over the come. Remember the briefing. The girl species uses resonance, coded speech, cognitive traps. If she speaks, you do not respond, you do not move, you do not think you are stronger. You are not. Yalan's throat tightened. He had heard the rumors before the briefing made them official. They said a battalion on the border had surrounded her, laughing, hungry for trophies. They said she had looked up once and spoken a single word. After that, every soldier dropped their weapons and stood still until their own hearts forgot how to beat. That story had sounded like a tavern lie. Now she was here, quiet, small, walking beneath palace light. And every guard acted like the rumor was the most practical thing in the universe. Yalan forced his eyes forward, then failed. Her gaze slid across the line of armored men, calm and oddly sad. Not begging, not angry, just watching, as if she already knew what each of them would choose. The Hall of Oaths waited at the far end. Doors carved with the Empire's history, victories, conquests. Beyond those doors, the High Council would question her, or execute her, depending on what answer they wanted. Yalan told himself he did not care. He told himself she was an enemy asset, a threat, a dangerous tool. He told himself the Empire had kept humanity alive when the stars turned cruel. He told himself obedience was safety. Then he noticed her hands. No bruises, no shackles, no tremor. Her fingers were stained with ink, thin lines along the tips. Like someone who wrote more than she fought. Like someone who carried stories instead of weapons. A soft sound escaped her, not a word, just a breath. Half the squad flinched. Captain Voss snapped. Hold formation. The girl lowered her chin and continued walking. At the intersection where the corridor widened into a bright atrium, a new sound joined the march. A faint hum, almost too low to hear. It came from the walls, from hidden speakers, from the palace itself. Yalan's suit translated it as a security tone. Captain Voss slowed by half a step. Yalan felt the shift before he understood it. The guards along the side corridors were not the same men who had started the escort. They wore the same armor, the same crest, the same rifles. But their stance was different, their spacing too perfect. Their helmets angled slightly inward, like hunters closing a ring. Voss's hand lifted, subtle, a signal for caution. The palace hum deepened. Yalan's heart knocked hard against his ribs. A side door opened silently. 3 officers stepped out. Black cloaks, council security. Their rifles were not standard issue. They were sleek, unmarked, illegal in the hands of anyone outside the High Council. One of them raised a gloved hand and pointed at the alien girl. Captain Voss stopped. By council order, custody transfers to us, Voss said. The lead officer's voice came through external speakers. Distorted and flat. By council order, you will stand down, you will remove your helmets. You will leave the prisoner here. Jalen's stomach turned. Remove helmets in a secure palace corridor. During a high-risk escort, that was not protocol. That was a trap. Voss's jaw tightened behind his visor. Negative, he said. Transfer occurs at the Hall of Oaths, as briefed. The lead officer tilted his head as if amused. Then he tapped something on his wrist. The palace hum jumped into a sharper frequency. Jalen's suit warning blinked. Audio interference. One of Jalen's squad mates, Rika, whispered over the private channel. They are trying to force our helmets open. Voss's voice snapped. Form a shield move. The escort line shifted. A practice dance. Rifles lifted. Boots angled. Bodies became a moving wall around the girl. And the girl, still silent, looked up at the cloaked officers with that same calm sadness, as if she had seen this too long ago. The lead officer fired first. A pulse round slammed into the chest plate of the soldier on Jalen's left. The soldier staggered, but did not fall. Armor held. A second shot hit a neck seal. And the soldier dropped hard, choking. Everything exploded into motion. Voss shouted, "Return fire!" Jalen raised his rifle. His finger hesitated for half a breath. Not from fear, but from disbelief. Council security was attacking Imperial soldiers. Inside the palace, that meant only one thing. The council did not want the girl questioned. They wanted her erased quietly before she could reach the Hall of Oaths. Rika fired. 2 pulse rounds cracked into a cloaked officer, knocking him backward. The officer rolled. Too fast, trained. Jalen fired next. Controlled burst. The pulse. Impact scorched the marble, missed by inches. His aim was shaking, not from combat, but from the feeling that the ground had shifted under everything he believed. The girl stepped forward, right into the line of fire. Jalen's breath caught. Voss roared, "Get her back!" Jalen lunged, grabbing the edge of her cloak, pulling her behind his shoulder. Her skin was warm through the fabric, not alien cold, not monstrous, just warm. He expected her to resist. She did not. She let him move her like she trusted him. And that trust hit harder than any pulse round. The palace hum rose again. Jalen's helmet display flickered for a heartbeat. He heard something through the interference, a whispering tone that was almost like a lullaby. His mind tried to follow it. Then he forced himself back, focusing on breath, on training, on the solid weight of his rifle. Captain Voss fought like a machine built for war. He moved the squad forward in short bursts. Cover to cover, he kept the girl centered, protected, but the cloaked officers had more men, hidden in side corridors, slipping in behind statues and pillars, and every time, the palace hum surged. Jalen felt his thoughts smear at the edges like oil across water. A pulse round grazed Jalen's shoulder plate, heat flaring. He stumbled, catching himself on a column. Rika yelled his name. Another soldier went down. Then another. Jalen saw. The lead cloaked officer stepped to the side, raising a slim device. It was not a rifle. It was a resonator, a council tool used to amplify frequencies, used to break locks, to disable drones, to shatter glass. Jalen realized with sudden cold clarity, to force sound into places it did not belong. The device flashed. A sharp tone stabbed the air. Jalen's visor lights went white. His ears rang. His legs almost buckled. The alien girl swayed. For the first time, fear flickered across her face. Not fear of dying. Fear of being made to speak. Captain Voss saw it too. He turned, shielded her with his body, and shouted, "Do not let them use that." Jalen pushed off the column, charging. He fired at the device, missed, fired again. The lead officer ducked, and the tone hit once more. Harder. Jalen's squad froze for half a second. Like puppets with cut strings. In that half second, the cloaked officer aimed the device directly at the girl, and the girl finally lifted her head. She looked straight down the hallway, past rifles, past helmets, past authority. Her eyes landed on Jalen. It felt like being seen without armor. Like she could read every regret he had swallowed. Every time he had obeyed instead of questioned, her lips parted, Jalen's entire body tensed. Not because he feared her, because he feared what the Empire would do if she spoke. Captain Voss shouted, "Nitrogen monoxide!" Rika screamed, "Stop her!" The cloaked officer smiled behind his visor, as if victory was already decided. The alien girl spoke one word, "brother." The sound was soft. Not loud, not magical, not a shout. It was a single word spoken like a memory, like a hand reaching across a dark room. Every soldier went silent, not just quiet, not just surprised. Silent in the deepest sense, as if the word had pulled all noise out of their bodies and locked it somewhere far away. Jalen's rifle slipped in his hands, his fingers loosened without permission, his breathing slowed, his heartbeat felt suddenly distant, like it belonged to someone else. All around him, armored joints stopped moving. Rika's mouth was open, but no sound came. Captain Voss stood frozen mid-step, eyes wide behind the visor. Even the cloaked officers faltered, their weapons lowering. By inches, the palace hum died completely. The corridor became a still painting under sunlight. And inside that silence, Jalen heard something else, not with his ears, but with his mind. A door opening, a flood of images he had locked away for years. A small apartment on the edge of an industrial district. A cracked window, rain tapping the glass. A girl with a scraped knee crying, his sister Lena, younger. Stubborn, brave, Lena looking at him and saying, "You promised you would protect me, brother." Lena's face on a memorial screen. A council announcement calling it collateral, necessary, unavoidable. The day the Empire bombed its own worker district to crush a protest. The day Jalen joined the military because grief needed somewhere to go. The day he decided obedience was simpler than rage. The alien girl's single word had pulled Lena back into the hallway, not as a ghost, as a truth. Jalen's eyes burned. He tried to blink, could not. Tears gathered behind his visor, hot and humiliating. The lead cloaked officer moved first, forcing his body to obey. He raised his rifle again, shaking, and aimed at the girl, but his finger would not pull the trigger. His whole arm trembled as if the silence had turned heavy, like gravity. The alien girl's voice was gone again. She did not speak, she only looked at Jalen, and in her gaze, he understood something that felt impossible. She had not attacked them. She had not tried to kill them. She had called out to the part of them that still remembered being human. Captain Voss's eyes shifted, fighting whatever held him. His jaw clenched. A single sound escaped him, not a word, just a strained breath. Jalen saw anger there, yes, but also pain. Like the silence had dragged Voss's own buried memories into the light. The lead cloaked officer snarled, breaking the stillness with a harsh rasp through speakers. "Do it. Shoot her now." His men tried to move. They could lift their rifles, slowly, like pushing through water, but the silence pressed on them. Not as a weapon, as a judgment. Jalen forced his hand back onto his rifle grip. His muscles screamed, as if he was fighting a current. He turned the barrel, not toward the girl, toward the cloaked officer. The officer's visor tilted. "Confused, then furious, traitor," he hissed. Jalen's voice did not come out, but he did not need it. His choice was loud enough. He fired. The pulse round struck the officer's shoulder, spinning him. The resonator device clattered across the marble. A second shot hit the officer's chest plate, knocking him down hard. The silence began to loosen, like a fist relaxing. Sound trickled back into the hallway. A gasp from Rika, a curse from a wounded soldier, the clatter of boots as men regained control of their legs. Captain Voss moved like a dam breaking. He surged forward, slamming his shield into a cloaked officer. Rika fired, dropping another. The remaining council men backed away, suddenly afraid, not of the alien girl, of what the soldiers had become the moment they remembered their own grief. The alien girl stepped to the fallen resonator. She picked it up carefully, as if it were something fragile and shameful. Then she set it on a windowsill in the sunlight, and she looked at Jalen again. Her lips did not move, But Yalin understood that word had cost her something. A limit, a rule, a restraint. As if speaking again would tear the world open. "Captain." Voss grabbed Jalin's shoulder, spinning him. His voice was rough, shaken. "What did she do to us?" Yalin swallowed, sound finally returning to his throat. He spoke, voice low, cracked. "She reminded us." Voss stared at him, visor reflecting sunlight. For a long moment he said nothing, then his comm clicked. An urgent signal from Palace Control. "Council forces inbound. Full lockdown. Terminate escort. Terminate witnesses." Rika's face went pale behind her visor. "They are coming to kill you," she whispered. The alien girl's eyes flicked to the far windows. Beyond the palace, through the bright city haze, dark shapes moved in the sky, shuttles fast-armed, descending. Captain Voss's hand tightened on his rifle. "We cannot reach the Hall of Oaths now," he said. "They will close every door. They will call us rebels and erase us." Yalin looked at the alien girl. She stood in the sunlight like a quiet question. Small, soft, glowing freckles like tiny stars. And somehow, in the middle of betrayal and gunfire, she looked heartbreakingly young. Yalin made a decision that felt like stepping off a cliff. He reached up and removed his helmet. Cool air hit his face. The palace smelled faintly of stone and flowers. He looked directly into her eyes. No visor between them, no filter, no distance. He spoke to her as if she were a person, not a threat. "Can you understand me?" She nodded once, slow, careful. Jalin's voice shook. "Why did you call me that word?" Her throat moved like she wanted to answer, but she did not. Instead, she lifted her hand and placed it over her own chest. Then she touched 2 fingers to Jalin's chest plate, right where his heart beat. Her touch was light, warm, and in that touch he felt a meaning, not a sentence, a feeling. "You are not alone." Captain Voss watched, weapon raised, breathing hard. Then he made his own choice. He pulled off his helmet too. His face was lined, older than Yalin had guessed, eyes tired. He stared at the girl with something like awe and dread. Then he looked at his squad. "Anyone who stays with the council dies as a tool." He said, "Anyone who follows me lives as a target. Choose, one by one." Helmets came off. Rika first, then 2 others, then another. Not everyone, but enough. Outside, shuttles roared closer. Palace alarms began to howl. Red light flashed along the corridor, turning sunlight into blood-colored bands. Voss pointed down a side passage. "Service tunnels," he said. "If we can reach the old transit spine, we can disappear into the underlevels. We can get her out." Rika looked at Yalin, voice trembling. "Out to where?" Jalin's mind raced. Out of the city, out of the Empire's grip. Out into a universe that suddenly felt wider than obedience. He looked at the alien girl. She gazed toward the windows again. Toward the sky, toward the incoming shuttles. Then she looked back at Yalin. And for the first time, a faint expression crossed her face. Hope. Yalin understood the shape of the future in that look. If the council wanted her erased this badly, it meant she carried a truth big enough to crack the Empire. And if she could call a soldier brother and make an entire hallway remember its humanity, then maybe the Empire's greatest weapon was not fleets or laws. Maybe it was the simple human refusal to become numb. They ran, boots hammered the marble, armor clattered. The palace echoed with alarms and distant shouting. They turned into a narrow service corridor where sunlight faded into harsh utility lights. The air smelled of metal and dust. Behind them, council troops poured into the atrium. Weapons up, furious. A shot snapped past Jalin's ear. Rika fired back without slowing. Voss slammed a door panel, sealing it. The locking bolts shrieked into place. They plunged into the tunnels, down ramps, through maintenance bays, past pipes that hissed steam. The alien girl kept pace, cloak fluttering, silent, focused, at a junction. Voss paused, listening. Footsteps above, patrols converging. He glanced at the girl, then at Yalin. "Can she do that again?" he asked. That silence. Jalin's stomach clenched. He looked at her. She met his gaze and slowly shook her head. Then she lifted one finger to her lips, not to threaten, not to command. To warn, one word, Yalin whispered. Only once, Voss exhaled, a sound full of grief and respect. Then we carry the rest ourselves, said. Like humans, they moved again. Faster now. A hatch ahead opened into an old transit spine. A forgotten artery beneath the palace. Rails ran into darkness. Dust thick on the ground. A decommissioned service. Car sat on the track. Power cells dead. Rika slapped the side panel. No power. Yalin looked around. Searching, then he saw it, a manual release crank. Old engineering, simple human. He grabbed it and began to turn, muscles burning. Voss and another soldier joined him. The service car shuddered, lights flickering weakly to life above them. The tunnel ceiling vibrated with heavy movement. Council. Troops on the surface, searching, closing in. Rika's voice cracked. They are right on top of us. Yalin turned the crank harder. The car lights brightened. A low engine hum began. The vehicle inched forward, then rolled, picking up speed along the rails. They piled in, pulling the alien girl to the center, shielding her with their bodies. As the car slid into the dark tunnel, Yalin looked back through the hatch window. A line of bright flashes filled the transit spine behind them. Council weapons firing. The tunnel mouth blossomed with smoke and sparks. But the service car kept rolling, deeper, faster, away, in the dim light. The alien girl sat with her hands folded, breathing steadily. Her freckles glowed softly like tiny stars refusing to go out. She looked at Yalin, and he saw tears on her cheeks, silent tears, not fear, relief and sorrow, as if she mourned they. Soldiers who had tried to kill her as much as she mourned herself. Yalin leaned closer, voice gentle. What is your name? She hesitated, throat moving. Then she did not speak. Instead she pressed her palm against the metal floor.